So today we're going to talk about eggs. And mainly because I have too many. I have the opposite issue, the opposite issue the rest of the world is having right now. And I can't seem to get rid of the eggs that I have. I called the village, told them, please come get eggs. Nobody came to get eggs. I was going to give some to the mail pilot. There was no mail this week, so I didn't get to give any to the pilots. There's no neighbors anymore. They've all kind of left for the winter. So I am out of people to give eggs to. I'm going to try again this next week, but until then, I have too many eggs. So, pickling eggs. So before this last year, I can't even remember trying a pickled egg before. The thought of it just grossed me out for some reason. I would say a genuine distrust of the whole thing. Not completely sure why, but anyways. Even a few months back when our boss and coworker were still here, we had an abundance of eggs. My mother-in-law had mentioned that they had been gifted some pickled eggs recently and that they were really good. So I thought I'd give it a try. They turned out super tasty, and Wes and I were blown away by how much they tasted like pre-made deviled eggs to us. I made several batches, and our coworker really liked them too. So first you need to hard boil your eggs. I have several tricks for cooking the eggs, and that's because there's just so many issues with peeling eggs, so I've tried a bunch of different things. So this is a quick boiling and cooking lesson tucked in here, so just go ahead and skip ahead with the timestamps. My best egg peeling advice is to try a few different methods to see what works best for you and your kitchen, along with the eggs that you have access to. The standard egg boil that I was taught as a kid is to place the eggs in the bottom of the pan, fill it with water, bring that to a boil, and set a timer for 10 minutes once the boil starts. After 10 minutes, drain off the hot water, shock with cold water, peel the eggs once cool. A few tricks that I have learned over the years is adding baking soda to the water really helps. Vinegar is one that I have tried, but it never really worked as well for me. Placing room temperature eggs into water with a spoon once the water starts boiling is a sworn trick by many, and I just personally, I suck at this method and I tend to break the eggs. I live in cold places, so my eggs are always too cold, or I drop it off the spoon just wrong and crack the eggs. So that method is just not for me. The last trick I have is actually steaming the eggs instead of boiling. To steam the eggs, bring a pot of water to a boil, add the eggs to a steam basket, and once the water is boiling, add the steam basket filled with the eggs above the boiling pot. Cover with a lid, steam for 15 to 20 minutes depending on how many eggs you used or how done you want the yolks to be. Remove the egg basket and shock cool the eggs with really cold water or an ice bath. Steaming seems to work the best for the freshest eggs. Eggs that are fresher than 5 days are so hard to peel. I discovered this method actually scrolling through the old internets while working on this video. And I think I'm sold on it. It worked really well, and here's the result. Okay, now back to the brine grind. So I've played around with several different vinegars and combos, and I've settled on a 1-to-1 balsamic and apple cider vinegar combo. I prefer a stronger flavor, and I'm also kind of too impatient to wait the 3 weeks to get the better flavor. If you would like a lighter flavor, I would recommend using a red wine vinegar and a white vinegar combo instead. That combo is also stunning when, like, the color of the jar is very pretty when it's done. The jars I use fit 12 eggs. I was too short on my last jar, but I boiled a second batch of eggs after the first. And now on to the brine. Obviously, I'm making like a restaurant-sized portion for this batch, so I will list a normal size for like around 12 egg batch in the description down below, as well as an Asian-inspired recipe at the end of this video. Once you combine all the brine ingredients, then you really want to mix them well and dissolve that sugar and salt and bring everything to a boil so that all the flavors really blend together. I dried some chives from the garden this past fall, so I added those to the jar as well. I would say about a tablespoon in each jar. Please be mindful of what temperature your jars are. It is cold where I am, so I run the jar sides under hot water, and I set these jars in a warm water bath as well. This helps prevent the jars from breaking from the heat of the brine. Remove the brine from the heat and pour over the eggs until the eggs are covered. Let the jars cool on the counter, and then the eggs will stay good for about 3 to 4 months in the refrigerator. Compared to the month roughly that fresh eggs last, I'm pretty excited about that. I also shake the jars after they've cooled just a little bit, just to see if there's any trapped air pockets, just to make sure if I need to add any more brine to the jars. I plan on adding a couple more eggs to this one jar, that's why I didn't put more brine in it, and it should look nice and full once I'm done with the next batch. Well, thank you for joining me for Pickled Eggs today. I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe you were inspired to try pickled eggs or make some yourself. Stay tuned if you would like to see the bonus recipe and our excellent review of this batch of eggs. Thanks everyone. Stay inspired. Oh yeah, these are only gonna get better.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a little cold though.
There was that one batch you had where it was just, you could tell that they had hit where they were gonna hit. Like they weren't getting better. They were just kind of meh. These, good. Whatever you did in this recipe.
This is the recipe I like. Like out of what? I think I've done like 4 or 5 now.
Yeah, this one has all the right wings.
easy as that. Clean. Yeah.
You really like it.
So I got 8, kind of dirty because they're not on hay. But 8 more eggs today. So, thank you, chickens. But it's a lot of eggs.